Hey there everyone, and welcome to this edition of Carolina Crescent. This is the online magazine that celebrates life in the mountain regions of North and South Carolina. The Carolina Crescent spans from Asheville, North Carolina, all the way down to Spartanburg and Greenville, over to Anderson, and then just skirts the edge of the Nantahala National Forest back up to Asheville. The Carolina Crescent is a place of resiliency, and that resiliency provides a ton of outdoor recreation. It's also a place where conservation meets innovation, and it's a place full of community and culture. And today, I am on the campus of Furman University because we're sitting down with one of its graduates, Mike McConnell. Mike McConnell served in the Navy, he served as the director of the National Security Agency, and he also served as the director of national intelligence in the Bush administration. Our Patrick McMillan sat down and talked to him about the security the Carolina Crescent offers, because isn't that what we all are interested in when we're looking for a place to call home? Here's part of their conversation.
Thank you, Mary. Mike, thank you for joining us again.
Indeed.
We're going to talk today about this region and security kind of in a global context. And one of the things that, to me as a biologist, really fascinates me about this region is how it has been a crucible of life through change in the past. How this Carolina Crescent has sort of preserved life during cataclysmic events that have happened climatologically. And whether we believe in something or not doesn't change the fact that it actually happens. Regardless of where climate change comes from, it's always happened, it's going to happen. And today, with the population of the world the way it is, one of the things that worries me the most is how we respond to that as a global population and what that does to our security threats.
Indeed, as you say, climate change is always happening. It's either getting warmer or cooler. We happen to be in a warming trend now. You can argue about causes, but you can't argue with the fact that it's happening. So when I was serving as the director of national intelligence, there was a split from the Congress and the White House about global warming. And so I found myself in a dilemma because my oversight committees were demanding that I do some research on global warming. So I walked in to tell the president I was getting this pressure, and he said, well, Mike, you know my position. I said, yes, sir, I do. And so here's how I'm going to be Solomon. The United Nations is studying global warming. I will take their report and assess the security implications of whatever they report out. Therefore, I'm not taking responsibility for what it says. I'm saying, if it happens, here's the result.
Right.
And he wasn't pleased with that, but he said, okay. So then the surprise, water shortage. We're going to be in a situation where a significant population in the world no longer has fresh water, no longer has clean water to drink.
Right.
If you look at the Middle East, Tigris and Euphrates, everybody who studied world history knows cradle of civilization. Well, Turkey's damming up the rivers, and so it's going to create drought and potentially famine in those areas, and it's particularly true in Africa. Well, what happens when a society is displaced and they don't have opportunity and they don't have a future? Then they become radicalized. And what happens when you become radicalized? You get an organization like Al-Qaeda or ISIS, or it goes on. And there's been terrorism in our past all the way back to ancient times. And so what I worry about is we have the makings of spawning terrorism in the future. And so when I think about a phrase I like to use is maximizing life and minimizing the risk. If I think about minimizing risk, I want to be in a place where there's fresh water and there's opportunity. And when I think about maximizing life, guess what happens? I come right back home. I come to the area where there's lots of diversity and opportunity. As you know, being a botanist and having studied this, we get moisture from the Gulf and we get moisture from the Atlantic.
Yeah, which is really unique because of the way the mountains run here in the Carolina Crescent is much more east-west than north-south, so we capture the highest rainfall in eastern North America right here.
Well, before I met you, I sort of instinctively knew it, but now that I've met you and you're an authority, now I know why.
Yeah.
So I'm going to become one of your biggest fans. I'm thinking about enrolling at Clemson.
You're welcome.
At least monitor your classes.
Yeah, so that really is a critical feature of this area. Beyond all other places in the Appalachians, we have more water and more reliable water, which in the future is going to be huge.
And speaking of climate change, again, you can argue about why, but you can't argue that it's happening, and it is getting warmer. And these mountains offer air conditioning every day. If you get up to 3,000, 3,500, 4,000 feet, I remember vacationing here once when I was in the Navy about midterm. It was 99 degrees in Charleston, South Carolina. It was 98 in Columbia. It was 90 in Greenville, which is not that far away, but I was vacationing up just west of Brevard.
Yeah.
Our high temperature that day was 74. And it was like so fresh. The trees, the forest, the green, and it was just like walking into an air-conditioned space. So that's how I think of this place.
And there's lots of ways to heat, but there's not too many ways to cool down if you live in
Exactly.
Columbia, South Carolina.
Exactly right.
If the lights go out, you're kind of in the heat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you think about maximizing your life and enjoyment and opportunity and minimizing the risk, what better place than this region? The mountains of South Carolina and western North Carolina. It's just tremendous.
Safe, secure, and we get the first string.
I love the first string.
Well, me too. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you.
Mary, back to you.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you, Mike. Your expertise is invaluable. We hope that you enjoyed this edition of Carolina Crescent. Join us next time, and we talk to Mike about sustainability and what this region has to offer when it comes to sustainability. Until next time, get out there and enjoy the Carolina Crescent.